Right now on ICANN Media here at the Global Petroleum Show in Calgary, I'd like to introduce you to Gary Storey. Gary, you're a distributor for KatchCan in South America. Perhaps you can tell us what your territory is.
I live in Peru. My main territory is Peru, but I also work in Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and Ecuador.
And what's the response for KatchCan's products with the rig safety and zero spill system down in South America?
Well, it's been very good with certain operators. Some operators are very quick uptakers, and others it takes time. One of the big contractors, it's taken us 4 years, but they've now said they want it on all their rigs.
So what is the tipping point then? What is it that you have to convince them of before they go, yes, we're on board?
Well, I think the key is getting it out on their rigs. And for a drilling contractor, they're usually unwilling to pay for it up front initially, so we have to work through the oil companies. And once the oil company is willing to pay for it, or at least they negotiate with the contractor so they share it, and once it's on the rig, the drilling contractor sees the benefits, and then they want it on all their rigs. And one of the main contractors has told me that if he gets long-term contracts, 2 to 3 year contracts, he's going to put it on every one of his rigs.
Are you surprised at the response that the gear is getting down there?
Well, I'm surprised that more oil companies aren't jumping on this as something they should do. You know, they're all getting into trouble with governments for spills, legacy spills that have been out there for 40 or 50 years that they're now being required to clean up. I'm surprised that some of these oil companies aren't more proactive in doing something to prevent future spills.
Well, and I just wonder, South America being more of a developing nation, I mean, it's had its resources used and abused by outsiders, insiders, that sort of thing. What is the, I guess, level of caring when it comes to the environment down there? Is it improving now?
Very much so. A lot of the countries have now got tough environmental laws, and I'm just talking in the last 5 years. A lot of them didn't even have an environmental law 5 years ago. And now the country where I live is Peru. They have like an environmental policeman now as one of the government agencies. They go around inspecting and they fine all the oil companies, the mining companies, if they see any spills.
And as far as the future goes, do you see this being more of a trend down in South America then?
Well, it's a trend worldwide, but it's come from almost zero to, I'd say 75% of what it is here in Alberta in the last 5 years.
So who's pushing that? Is it the public? Is it the government? Is it industry?
Well, I think the governments are now wanting to be seen to be more environmental friendly. It seems like it's obviously a global trend, and as most of the Latin American countries now are growing quite rapidly, they have more money and they have more conscience now. And so as they see what other countries are doing, they're following the lead. Is
it challenging doing business in those countries? I mean, we've talked to a gentleman from Nigeria, and he talks about the challenges there sometimes with political instability. Are those some of the challenges that you might face down in South America as well? Well, obviously, I mean, South America consists of 13 different countries, and each one of them has its own challenges. And they could be, importations, it could be economic, it could be social, it could be cultural. And each one has its challenges, but we see the trend in all the countries going in the same direction as far as environmental. And when you talk about that, again, looking at the KatchCan systems, the fact that it's got such high designations when it comes to safety and certifications, is that a good selling point for you when you're taking it to your potential clients? Well, it should be a good selling point. But basically, since a lot of the customers have been drilling the same way for the 40 or 50 years, they don't know anything in between. So there's no middle ground. It's either KatchCan, which is top of the line, or nothing. And they've been used to nothing for 40 or 50 years. So having a high certification isn't really a big issue at the moment. Okay, but it is obviously something that you can tout as being a benefit to the product. Well, obviously, yeah, we can use some of the examples of where they've installed in North America, in Mexico, and use that as good examples of oil companies that are being proactive. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye.